Hello! We're here in the dining room and today we are going to be making a woodland themed tablescape. I really love fall YouTube videos, like fall content. I feel like fall goes by really fast, especially for me as a florist. Fall and spring are the busiest seasons, and so they go by and I feel like I don't get to really sit with this season and enjoy it. So I wanted to kind of take a beat and appreciate it and create something in it. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be using stuff around my house that I already have, things that people have given me, things I've foraged, and some leftovers from a wedding that I just worked. So nothing is being purchased for today's tablescape. This is all stuff I already have. I mean, my house is kind of woodland themed in some ways anyway, so it's kind of easy to do. And, you know, being a florist, I have the privilege of getting leftover flowers, which is awesome. So first things first, I need to clean up the table and put on a tablecloth. I actually had a whole other video edited for this week, but I realized that next week is Thanksgiving, and I was like, oh, I want to do a tablescape. It would be so fun! Okay, I don't have a plain mossy colored tablecloth already in my home. I have a few tablecloths and they're all very patterned, and I felt like for the vibe of what I wanted to do for this tablescape, I really needed like a plain kind of deep green color. And I have this blanket that is kind of perfect. The only thing, I mean, it's a blanket, so if I was actually gonna like leave this tablescape and like eat off of it, then I wouldn't do this, but this is for fun. I'm just having a good time. But obviously I would rather use an actual tablecloth. I think what really makes a good tablescape is lighting and florals and the dinnerware. I've pulled a bunch of stuff over here on the Hoosier, so I'm gonna kind of sort through that and lay out what I actually want to use on here. Starting out with candles or candlestick holders. I've got my little grout persimmon candlestick holders that I made, and then I've got these bronze ones, which I think are very earthy. And then I've got my frog one. And I think that might be all the candle stick holders that I need for this space. Because if we kind of space it out, maybe a tall guy in the middle, medium guy out here, medium small, and then tiny, tiny, tiny. I like little groupings of 3 for candles, and then maybe a group of 2 to mix it up. I like that. My first thought was to do a bunch of different types of green, because I do have a few shades of green candlesticks, but because the candlestick holders are all different, I feel like it makes a lot more sense. And for consistency, the candlesticks themselves should all be the same color. Even though I really like this color, I don't have enough of them. I'm kind of torn between these two options. This is like a blue-green color, which I do like, and I like the shape. It's very cylindrical, like it doesn't actually taper, which is kind of fun. And then the other option is just like a very simple ivory. And I'm torn because I really like to have like an interesting color taper. And I feel like that's just so fun. I think I'm gonna try it with this, and then if I hate it when I have everything out, I'll just swap them. I'm always putting tablescapes together for my job, so, you know, it's always what the client wants and what the, you know, the head designer has put together. So it's really fun when I get to just do something like random like this. I get to do what I want to do. I think we're gonna go ivory. These are very classic. This is going to be a very classy table. I think sometimes it's good to go classic when you're going to go crazy in other areas, so it works out. For the florals, I have these floral frogs, and it looks like this. It's also called a pin frog. And I have these little, I guess they're sake cups, but they're kind of like the perfect size. I would rather like putty them into a vessel so that they don't like slide around. Like these can kind of like twist if I'm gonna do a lot of flowers, but the plan is to just do like 3 or 4 flowers in each one. So as long as I balance out the weight, it's not gonna go anywhere. And then this is an old candle, and I have a bigger frog in there. Also not stuck down. I don't have any putty to stick it down. I have some moss that I got from my friend's roof, and I was thinking that I'll kind of plop that around it so that it looks like the flowers are growing out of the moss. Oh yeah, and I have, you guys remember my moss vest that I embroidered? My little guy, my little Mike, blends right in. You didn't even see him, did ya? So I'm making sure there's enough water in each of these so the flowers can get a drink. And this wedding that I just worked was very ranunculus heavy, so I got a ton of ranunculus. I wired hundreds of these for the wedding. I just worked with Ritual Floral Studio. It was such a pretty wedding. But you feed a wire through the stem so that you can bend it in any direction. You can bend it like so, and then bend it back like so, creating new shapes. And also these ranunculus, this type of flower snaps really easily, so the wire helps reinforce it so that you don't lose a flower. Tables are all about community, and you want to be able to see the people across from you. So we always have this rule of like, don't make an arrangement taller than your forearm. And if it is taller, then it should be in something that's like see-through, and then it should be way up here, like way higher up. So for these guys, I'm gonna keep them low-ish. Like I kind of want them around mid-height of the highest candle, just to kind of mix the variation in height so that not everything is at this level. And because I wired them, I have to cut it with wire cutters now. And I kind of want them to be facing outwards, different directions. I'm gonna use the more peachy ones, the kind of deeper colored ranunculus. This one is so cool. And the beauty of the frogs is that it stands up so easily. You just stab it right in there. We want these flowers to look like they're growing, so we want them to be at different heights. I do actually like the bowls that they're in, but for today's theme, we're gonna hide the bowls away. Like they were never there. I need a little more moss, so I'm gonna snatch it from my yard. I'm just gonna snatch some pieces that the deer have already flipped upside down. The deer really like coming back here and messing with it. I don't know if they're actually eating the moss. They also like to lay back here. I've seen them laying down. So the moss bed has been successful for someone. I absolutely love putting fruit on a tablescape, and I got a bunch of persimmons from a wedding that I worked. I know everybody says it a little differently. Some people say persimmon, some people say persimmon. I really like to make little clusters and stacks of them, and like little bundles of 3, and I kind of want to get them to encroach on the moss and kind of cover the bases of the candlesticks. And I like pairing them with the candlestick holders that were inspired by them. I think it's so cute. And I'll add a couple of these guys I just found in the yard. You can kind of tuck in. I really wanted things to look like they're growing out of the table. To me, this definitely feels like a tea party, so I'm going to bring out the tea. Got some little pots. So I could stop here and it would be beautiful, great, still somewhat classy, but I want to lean in to the woodland theme like real hard. And so to do that, I have a ton of things to put still on the table. So at this point, like, I am aware that it is, this is like finished in a sense, but we're gonna lean a little bit kitsch now and jump into the heavy-handed woodland aesthetic. A friend just gave me these Fox salt and pepper shakers for my birthday, and so they are definitely going out. My sister-in-law just gave me this hedgehog butter dish for my birthday as well, so that's going out. Since this is a woodland tea party, I've got my tea frogs here that I made a while ago, and these are the ones I kept. I've got my mushroom nutcracker that Emma gave me, and I've got my grout mushroom sculpture. So these guys are going out. And I've got a few more woodland creatures. Well, that's all for today. This was really fun. I love making just fun tablescapes. It's fun to just play around with stuff and try things and experiment. And so let me know if any of you do any autumnal tablescapes for the season and the holidays, and or just for yourself. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Woodland, Woodland. The life of Rosalind is the life for